Welcome back. We are starting out our show on this Thursday with Todd Haber. He's a business administrator from the Park City School District. We are going to discuss the potential residential development going in over at Kimball Junction and the effect on the school district. Todd, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit more about this residential development and why the school district is concerned or at least wants to be a part of the planning.
Sure. As the development was first put together, it was meant to be a commercial tech park, which has a different impact on the school district. When it's a technical park coming in, you're looking at office spaces and things of that nature. So that would be a revenue generating property really for the school district. When you change it to a mixed use and you start to introduce residential units into that development, that has two impacts. The first impact is that we will now have to plan for students to come into that space. And it also, depending on how those units are sold off, it would have an impact on revenues to the school district.
So what type of involvement would the school district like to have if, in fact, this does happen, if those 1,100 residential units do start to be built over in Kimball Junction? How does the school district want to be a part of it?
We'd love to have the opportunity just to see the types of units that go in, depending on whether the units are single room, two room, three room, all have impacts on family sizes that come into the school district. So we'd like to be able to understand those discussions and what the strategies are and end goals are for the development. That in the end allows us to do appropriate demographic studies so that we can see what the impacts might be on our schools and whether enough students might come from those properties that would require us to build schools or to change school boundaries.
So, of course, you would need appropriate amount of time if you need to build another elementary school or make adjustments to current schools. Those are all things that you need to consider well ahead of this increase in population.
Absolutely. And so that's where understanding the goals and development project itself allows us to see even what timeline they're on. They may be on a timeline that this development comes fully online in over maybe 5 or 6 years. That gives us plenty of time to be able to plan for either construction projects or boundary realignments. So it's just really a matter of being part of the conversation, understanding what the goals are, and helping the developer and the county understand what those impacts are to the school district.
And where is the development at right now? I know it's been a hot topic here around Park City. It's definitely in the very initial planning stages. But what is the timeline, and do you feel like the school district is involved?
So we've been spoken with and to by the developer. We've had opportunities to get into the ground level of some of the designs and drawings that they're putting together. So the first public meeting really opened up the door for the school district to be able to participate and understand what really is going into the project. And that was probably part of the concern that we had as a school district, is that this project was in development, but we were unaware. We had already gone through a demographic study, and this project wasn't on the list of things that could happen in the next 5 to 10 years. And that was maybe a frustration there for the school district to just find out in a public meeting something quite significant, something that would really impact the area. And we're hoping that as we move forward, we'll have better ways of communicating. I understand there's laws that prevent the Planning Commission from considering impacts on school districts, but that's not the same as keeping us out of the loop or not letting us be at least informed of things that are coming into the area.
And the Park City School District has been undergoing quite an extensive master planning initiative. And this wasn't really a part of the master planning, as I understand correctly. You're already considering growth and all of the things to make sure that the school district is prepared. So this is really a big development that would need to be included in master planning.
Yeah, on just raw numbers, we were projecting somewhere around 500 new students coming into the school district from various projects across the area within the district boundaries. And this project alone is almost that same number. So that would have really impacted the types of conversations we were having and the pressures that we would have seen on our buildings. Now, in the meantime, some of the projects that we had anticipated coming online or developing are not. And so there's kind of a netting out effect. And just being in the conversations helps us know what direction that netting out might be, whether it's a little bit more, or a lot more, or a little less, or a lot less.
And Todd, we spoke back in March, I believe, about how the budget has been affected at Park City School District due to this pandemic, schools being closed and such. And as we look towards schools safely opening, it's definitely an increase in needs, an increase in cleaning, increase in staff and for certain jobs such as janitorial, more counselors. How is the school district doing budget-wise, and how are you able to plan for the unexpected?
Sure, it's always fun to try to plan for the unexpected, but in the main course of the budget, some things did not happen. So the legislature did not reduce public education budgets by up to 10%. In fact, they increased it by 1.8% in the value of the WPU. So at that level, we have state dollars coming in that we can use to backfill cuts that we don't need to do, and also to prepare for the expenses of COVID. At the next level, we have federal dollars that are coming in through two different types of grants and funding through the CARES program of the federal government. So that will help to defray some of the costs that we're incurring. We also have a fairly strong reserve balance, and so we will use that judiciously. Again, reserves are good for one-time expenditures, and some of our preparations for COVID have been one-time in nature. So there's a good matching up of those types of resources. I'm in the process now of closing out the books for this last school year, and it looks like we will have a little bit of surplus from that year as well, even with the costs of COVID that we incurred from March until June. So I think we'll be in a good position with our budgets. And the board is planning to take a revisit with the budgets at its August board meeting.
And Todd, as business administrator with Park City School District, how do you feel going into this school year? Do you feel optimistic, concerned, a little uneasy? What are your thoughts as we head into this school year starting in just a few weeks?
Sure, I'm keeping my my positive glasses on as we move forward. I think the importance of having our students back in school for in-person teaching and learning is critical, and we will just be as prepared as we can be with what the requirements are that come from the county and from the state. We will make our schools as safe as we can make, so that those learning opportunities are available to all of our students in the district.
Well, Todd Albert, thanks so much for speaking with us this morning here on Mountain Connections. It's been interesting to hear more about that development over at Kimball Junction and the impact it could potentially have on the school district, as well as this upcoming school year. So thank you for joining us this morning here on Park City Television. We've got more coming up on this Thursday. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.